being text of a press conference by the Coalition of Civil Society Group on Human Rights on the position of the International Criminal Court to investigate Nigerian security forces over allegations of crimes against humanity and war crime. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to this press conference by the Coalition of Civil Society Group on Human Rights in Nigeria to shed light and put issues in proper perspective with regards to the position of the International Criminal Court intending to investigate Nigerian security forces over allegations of crimes against humanity as well war crimes in the fight against terrorism in the country. As a background, the Coalition of the Civil Society Group on Human Rights is the umbrella association of the civil society organization in Nigeria dedicated to taxing the government on the dividends of democracy as well as holding the government accountable the enforcement of its social contract to the people. We are holding this press conference as strategic stakeholders in the war against terrorism in Nigeria in the sense that we have followed the strategies deployed by the Nigerian military in the prosecution of the war against terrorism closely. It suffices to add that the Coalition of Civil Society Group on Human Rights have, in time, to numerous mention, issued statements and reports in the reprisal of the operation of the Nigerian military in the prosecution of the war against terrorism and other acts of militancy in Nigeria. We are consequently alarmed by the recent position of the International Criminal Court, alleging that the Nigerian military would be investigated for crimes against humanity. This, in our opinion, is not only uncharitable, but an indication that the International Criminal Court has lost focus on its mandate. We wish to state that the attempts by the International Criminal Court in this regard can be best described as attention-seeking in the bid to validate its already erudite relevance in the scheme of affairs on the global scene. This attempt at discrediting the effort of the Nigerian military is obviously in poor taste and reason why questions must be asked as regards the objectivity of the ICC in identifying and dealing with crimes against humanity over the years. This is also on the heel that the International Criminal Court has, over the years, displayed an unimaginable level of bias towards the African continent while foreign ignorance to the atrocity and violations committed in the Western claims. The Coalition of the Civil Society Group is alarmed that the International Criminal Court, that is neck deep in credibility, issued in its prosecution of perceived crimes against humanity, has relied substantially on fake news from the stables of Amnesty International in arriving at its decision on the Nigerian military. In our considered opinion, what the International Criminal Court has attempted in its recent position is nothing but a subtle promotion of colonialism in the periled attempt to return the African continent to Western domination. We wish to state that most African governments have changed their legitimacy of the International Criminal Court, accusing it of being biased against their continent. They have declared their country's intention to cease being ICC member, many observers have suggested that the conception of justice in African affairs from the one adopted by the international community, prominence of this argument claims that the Western conception of justice is being forced upon Africa using the instrument of the International Criminal Court. The useful question to ask here would be, why hasn't the ICC been able to exercise jurisdiction over the atrocity situation outside of Africa? The answer lies in the fact that the ICC has transformed into a political weapon for sale to the highest bidder, and this much the promoter of Amnesty International have capitalized on it in the case of Nigeria.